did you all see this Charlie Kirk clip?
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to give any setup to it. It's so wild. So trigger warning, there is not to spoil it, but there is racism in this. But not because of Charlie Kirk. This is the left's fault. So they'll explain why.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean,
about
like,
that.
you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am.
Press pause for a second.
What I believe.
It is the reality the left has.
Wait, there we go.
Go back though to these the one with it all on the screen. Look at these 4 fucking winners. Look at these. Look at these 4 guys talking about. Look at these guys talking about. I want the pilot with the square jaw, and I mean, look at these guys. Look at this guy. Look at these 4 guys. Give me a break.
I can't.
There's just a bunch of fucking clowns, man. Like Charlie Kirk. I think he just wants the attention. He knows, like, Charlie Kirk's one of these guys where he's very aware of his propaganda. I don't think he's an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw him debate Sam Cedar. He know when he needs to be prepared. He gets prepared. He gets himself prepared. Like, he's very aware of what he is, his role in society, what he's doing. It's hard to be surprised anymore. Like the only part that surprises me is go back, like, I don't know, 8 years ago. Imagine that was said. Like, the reaction would have been much larger. We would have seen a lot more people cover it. Charlie Kirk would be like blacklisted everywhere. But now it's just very normal to hear someone like that spread some obvious racist bullshit to a massive media platform.
So
like,
what's the thing about the chin? Because I'm really trying to understand. What is this? Why are they looking for a pilot with a square chin? Why is this a
They're all closeted? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, well, so in a different clip, Jack Posobiec, who is the white supremacist in that, not that they're all not, but he's probably like the most like closest to being a Nazi. He said that he wants like a Chad to be his pilot, like a Chad with a Southern accent, possibly. So that's what
he wants.
Criteria
he wants to be
he's
his pilot
looking.
in more ways than one.
So what's a Chad? No, y'all got to break this down to me. It sounds quite white.
It's like, buff dude, like works out, looks strong.
Oh, they call them a Chad?
You know.
Wow, didn't know that. So like a guy that works out, looks good, tight.
The alpha male they're so obsessed with. That's
the strong
jaw. That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird. I don't know, like
that
is weird,
right?
Yeah,
it's very homoerotic.
Their obsession with it too.
Yeah.
And the idea that any of that has the idea that any of that has to do with flying an airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's nothing to do with that. That's why I go to, there's something else going on. Like, with this guy's mind. Why else is he so obsessed with having a Chad fly his plane?
And it's funny because when they have these conversations, usually, like you said, people would question it. Or nowadays, they can have these conversations out in the full. Be a part of a group of people who are anti-LGBTQIA+, but they can sit here and have these type of conversations. And I don't know what they go for, what they're doing, but to fawn over what they want their pilot to look like, which I don't even understand with this conversation, why it was being had. Why do you need your pilot to, I don't know, but it gives, questionable, suspicious.
Yeah.
So
it's about feeling safe, right? So if they have this big protective Chad, this muscle daddy, then it's like,
and thank you for teaching me what a Chad was. Because that's funny. I'm
surprised you've gone this long and just
never. See, I told you we live in two different worlds. There are terms that I really never heard in my life.
I feel like
I don't.
You live in a better media world than I do then, because I see this bullshit all the fucking time.
Yeah, I mean it's the white world and it's the black. I be on Black Twitter. There's a lot of words that I'm still learning today, but the other words you guys taught me, I don't remember what that was. I don't even think we should bring it back. But then the Chad.
I don't think we should bring that one back.
Yeah, I don't remember what that word.
We're like that song in Disney's Tarzan. 2 worlds, 1 family.
Exactly.
I think it's when I
Gotta
stopped
love
watching Disney
gotta love Phil
movies when
Collins.
Tarzan came out.
I love Phil Collins.
Yeah,
Disney
my mom
movie.
bought me that CD when I was a kid. I think she got it for me for Christmas, and I was bumping it hard.
Phil Collins is great.
Look, you were bumping it hard.
She got
Millennial
got-
terminology.
that's true. That is true. I'm showing my age.
Why did millennials
She got
say
me a
bumping
CD
it
player.
hard?
She got me a CD player, and she got me the Inspector Gadget soundtrack, and then I also had and from the movie Inspector Gadget with I forgot the actor's name.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick.
I dated someone that was her great cousin, Matthew Broderick.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, really?
It's a
I thought you were
random,
gonna say you dated someone that looked like Matthew Broderick.
No.
I'm like, really?
random celeb connection. Never met him
That's
though.
funny. That's so funny. Yeah. It's this clip is so wild to me because they're using DEI as like this get out of jail free racism card where they could say the most racist shit imaginable, and so long as they say no, I'm talking in terms of DEI, then it's fine. Apparently, you would think that, like as David was saying, like 8 years ago, like people would want to distance themselves from this. But like I have a video tomorrow about how the conservatives are all like jumping over themselves to defend Charlie Kirker and say this is not racist. And it's like there's even comments like, can you imagine people are saying that that's racist? It's like, okay, if he's literally saying, when I see a black pilot, I think, I wonder if he's qualified. The fact that you have this suspicion about black people in particular,
Strange.
you can't just say DEI. Like it says something about your own psychology here, and they don't realize that. They just think, no, I'm talking about DEI. See, it's not that he's black in particular. It's not the race that's the issue. It's that, well, is he here because, affirmative action, essentially, which is what they think DEI is. It's so wild to me. Like the dog whistle is gone. Like it's just straight up like pure racism. Like they're not trying to hide it. And even though they're not trying to hide it, they're all like, no, he's not racist. Like this is so fucking Orwellian to me to see the way that they try to gaslight people. Like if that's not racism, then what is to them,
like,
right? Like, I mean, fuck.
They know.
Yeah.
They know. That's why it is gaslighting, because they know they're full of shit. Like it's.
But that's
they're playing to an audience. They're playing to an audience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, the stats fly in the face of, like, obviously it's racist, but let's even put that aside for a second. The stats fly in the face of whatever they believe. There has not been a major airline accident, 0 fatalities in the United States since 2009, if you can believe it. And the airlines have only gotten more and more diverse with their hiring since then. Like over the years.
Yeah, but
so I
Boeing's
mean
a
the
piece of shit
idea
company,
that
so.
the idea that but they're
defending
not
these
just
companies,
talking. They're not focusing on Boeing.
Oh, of course.
They're going
no,
after
of course not. Yes.
American
They're making it about
Airlines,
something else.
Southwest Airlines. They both.
It's because they.
Both those companies posted photos of like their all women crew, and then another posted a photo of like their black crew.
That's
whatever,
the argument they're
and
making.
They had to
is
like
they're
delete
spending
them
too much
because of all
on
the hate.
diversity. They're spending too much on diversity. That's why they can't, bolt these planes properly. Like that. No, the issue is corporate profits. The issue is that there's been apparently a lot of planes with missing bolts. It's like a normal thing now. Like I'm seeing a storm. Like Jesus Christ, this is why I hate flying. Like no.
Yeah. It's so much easier to scapegoat like people of color and black people than to say, well, these companies are cutting corners to save a few bucks. Nope, everything that goes wrong is
So they're
going to
hire a black pilot so they can save $1. Oh my God. They're going to hire a black pilot so that, we can just make sure that, we're helping the economy. But with your black pilot, it might be a little shaky in the air. It might be a couple bolts.
That's what they're trying to argue.
Your luggage may not make it. Sounds like Spirit Airlines, but and that's what you get with the black pilot. So let my pilot be strong and white. Let him be strong and white, nice strong jaw, and I know he's gonna get me to where I need to go. We don't want a Greyhound in the sky, but we want to make sure we have a luxury, okay, when we are in the sky. So give us that strong Chad, like you guys said, with the nice jaw, and I know he can get us to where we got to go. Not that he actually is qualified, but if he just looks the part for them, then it'll make sense.
If he makes me feel safe, if he could pick me up, without struggling.
If he could really control me and handle
we don't
me.
even know. We don't want that. And God forbid this person look Middle Eastern. is given terrorists. We don't want none of it. Let them be white because white is right. See, that's what it's giving. And that's problematic.
And not a woman. I was listening to the
Ooh.
Quartering
No
who was
vagina.
talking about this, and he was saying, of course, Charlie Kirk is not racist for saying this. But then he's like, and really we could extend this to women too. But my wife is a pilot and she's competent. It's like, oh wow, so you should also extend that skepticism to women. But you have a wife pilot, but I'm sure she's thrilled to hear you say that. I mean, it's so wild to me. And what's funny is that, like, if they were really trying to base this off of something, the one stretch that you can make would be, okay, well, you know what? Men compared to women are colorblind statistically more, right? Now, they don't make that jump because, of course, it's absurd. In order to become a pilot, you have to undergo training. You need to have 20/20 vision. You can't be colorblind. You have to put in 1,500 hours of flight time. You have to fly at night. You have to fly cross country. So they know, though, that like, oh, okay, well, colorblind isn't an issue. It's just, apparently people of color don't have to meet those qualifications. It's so fucking wild.
My pilot need to be able to see, but that's not important. Just give them. I need my pilot to have muscles and strong jaw. Okay, and we're good to go. It's terrible. Concerning.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. I'm so sick of it's just this cowardice, right? Like they will, when it comes to any issue, they'll beat around the bush and they'll come as close to the line as they can get, and they'll cross the line sometimes, but they will never admit that what they're saying is like racist or homophobic, right? Like the Quartering, he'll, concern troll about anytime there's like a fucking gay couple that has a baby or like through surrogacy, he'll sound the alarm about that, but he won't just say, I just don't think gay people should be around kids. Like just say it, you pussy. Just like say it with your full chest. You're so close already. Like Charlie Kirk is just saying, yes, when I see a black pilot, I have these thoughts in my head. And it's because of the left, because they push diversity, not because I'm racist, but just say it. You're this close. I mean, the mask is already off. Why hide? You could just go that extra step, It's so ridiculous to me.
Did you guys already look up or mention the actual requirements to be a FAA licensed pilot in the US? Because I looked it up, and if you want to be an airline transport pilot, aka the one that they're talking about, is in like, oh, I'm kind of worried about the race of my pilot style racism. It takes 1,500 hours of logged flight hours before you can take the ATP CTP exam. That's in addition to the knowledge test, the practical exams, of which there are plenty along the way. That's what you got to do. There's no one becomes a pilot as a vibe. No one's just like, oh, I want to do this. And then like in the interview, they're like, oh, well, I'm sorry, but you're a little too white, sir. We were actually looking for some non-whites this time. That doesn't happen. Like this, of all the examples, is got to be one of the most demonstrably just like the weirdest racist hill to die on. You can just like, no, this is not a thing. You're making this up.
The conversation is dumb. Why did they get here? Why was it a thing? But it just shows how racist they can be. There is no point of where are the examples of having a white pilot that has a strong jaw versus a black pilot or a person of color, like how they fly you is different, your experience is different, like where is that? Because having that conversation is ridiculous. It just literally shows more of, no matter how they try to phrase it, no matter how they try to pat it, and it's already it's in America especially, they're marginalized groups as pilots. To have a pilot of color or a black pilot, they're not many. So every time somebody makes that, like having a black pilot is a big thing. So your experience probably will be top tier if you have a black pilot or black flight attendants or whatever. But you just I don't understand how that makes a difference, but here we are having that conversation because it's all wrapped up in racism. And that's what that is. There's just a whole bunch of racists. Matt made us look at them all in their whiteness. And it was just so white and unnecessary. Just like their conversation. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I love how they've been using this excuse. Like, it's just that DEI is the new CRT. That's all that's happening here.
Yeah.
They're trying to do a little sleight of hand, but it's the exact same tricks, right? But to be like, I'm worried about the skin color being a factor, and I was like, okay, you want to hear a job where I think you might have trouble getting the job if you have white skin? If you have to portray a black man in a TV show, maybe that's something you could say. You might have difficulty becoming like the starring role, as Malcolm X if you happen to be like a white person. Fair enough, that could be affecting your job. For a fucking pilot, like, do you know the amount of work you need to do to get in the fucking room to sit there in front of a fucking company, an airline company that are going to be like, yeah, we're willing to give you this job, like 1,500 hours. That's not like, it's like you are dedicating yourself to this,
You
like
gotta train. You gotta, and I know that in 2020 they were looking for pilots like nobody's business. People were on strike. People weren't doing it. I remember it was a whole thing. They were like, look, just go ahead and get your license. We'll put you in the sky. It was very bumpy times, but at the end of the day, and most of them pilots I knew with my bumpy rides was all white, but that doesn't make any sense. I just want to get to where I want my pilot to be trained. I want to make sure I feel safe on my flight. I want to get to where I'm going. Just because my pilot is black, don't put out that rhetoric that it's going to be you're going to feel unsafe, or because my pilot may look, because sometimes they don't even be Middle Eastern, and I'm just going to be or Hispanic or whatever. Like, no, you just make sure your pilot is qualified, okay? And get on your flight and go. That's it.
Yeah, they actually have this, and not to be like overly reductive, but I genuinely think they unironically believe this. They think that, like, okay, corporate they have two candidates in front of them. One is this white, overly qualified guy. He's gotten all the certifications, and then the other person on the resume, it just says, I logged 150 hours on Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I happen to be a person of color. They're like, well, we're going to have to go with that person, unfortunately.
We have no choice. Our hands are tied,
It's probably even worse, honestly. They probably envision like a whole line of 100 like white pilots standing outside. All applying.
Best of the best. The jawline's incredible.
Right, and they're all got the jawline right, and the DII guy is in there going like, bring me some black people. Like, I don't want this. Like,
no, diversity.
It's so comical. Like, I feel like to say that this kind of thinking is like what the racism that you see of like an elementary schooler is almost too, like, it's just so much dumber than that. Like, it's so ridiculous. And these people, like Charlie Kirk, he is an influence peddler on the right. He has so much power and influence. Like, there are so many conservative politicians that attend his events and whatnot.
But they're all agreeing. You know how we keep talking about how the mask keeps slipping? Like, they keep getting away with, like, great replacement theory used to be on Stormfront. It used to be an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that only Lawrence Southerns would talk about. Now everyone says, like, it's been normalized. Same thing with this. Like, Matt Walsh was making an entire segment on how Charlie Kirk was right and not racist at all. The Quartery made a video on how Charlie Kirk is right and not racist at all. Like, you could just see the whole right-wing media apparatus is like, oh, we're a little further, like, we're getting closer to white people being able to say the N-word, essentially. Like, that's we're normalizing this racism. We're normalizing this racism. This isn't too racist anymore. This is normal now. And like, it's fucked up to watch it, just happening in real time.
Yeah, they're yanking the like overchin window in regard to like what you can say so far to the right that like they all, I mean, I was gonna say they all sound like white supremacists, but I mean, like, if it quacks like a duck, like they're all just fucking white supremacists.
They are. I mean, there's nothing to them, and they're not this. You can look at them and see they gotta look. Okay, I hate to say it. You know what I'm saying? Don't judge it by its cover. They gotta look.
Are you saying the master race isn't like the superior?
The bloodline, they rock. Like, but they can sit there, have these microphones, and like you said, we're getting closer. They're moving the goalposts every second, every year, to say, but that's black. And that's just, I mean, we're going back in time. They want us to really go back in time. And so it's like, but that's black, to make it derogatory. You got a black pilot, derogatory. Like, your pilot ain't white, it ain't right. So keep on. And then they're going to just say, but that's an NIGG hard ER. And they're going to be able to say that. And it's going to be just fine on these podcasts. They're going to be able to sit there and say it.
That's
and
what they're working towards. That's
and white people, they're going to be like, well, black people say, and black people, that's going to be their
It's in music. It's in all the songs.
Oh, yeah.
How am I supposed to sing along?
What am I supposed to do? Not say it when I'm rapping the song? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Not say it. There are a lot of times. I remember remember when I had to listen to Disney. What was it? Radio Disney when I was a kid because I couldn't say the cuss words and I couldn't say some of the sexual innuendos. I had to get the remix.
Oh,
So
that's
go
a
find
great
you a
way to
remix
explain it.
and be all
That's a
right with
great
your
way to
life. Like we can't make those excuses, but they are moving towards being able to say racist. They already say racist things, like this stupid conversation about having a white freaking pilot with a strong jaw. Just we'll talk about his features and but we just want him to be white is what they're essentially saying. And that makes our flight feel safer.
And handsome.
But that they're moving towards what I'm telling you, they're gonna get to a place where they can say, I was afraid. We already have a lot of our podcasts, the most popular podcasters who are white. Who can sit down and say, I didn't feel safe. I'm gonna be honest. I went to a black neighborhood and I didn't feel safe. Boom. They can say those things. And those are trending conversations. And then they get put onto major platforms like Spotify and get $1 million deals.
Yeah. And before there was at least for the most part, they can say it. They just don't want there to be repercussions. And
that's it, right?
The accountability is going away. Like on Twitter, there's nothing stopping them from saying it. Like when Nazis returned, they were saying it, right? And now you could basically say it. And also the worst part is that they're incentivized to say it because the more outrageous things you say, the more attention that you get. Like there's this, I don't remember the name of this girl. She's like a gaming anti-SJW person. And she posted a video of herself to Twitter saying the F slur when a couple of years ago, this other YouTuber, Review Tech USA, he found tweets of hers talking about anti-gay bigotry and how she was against it. It's like, I don't know if she believes what she's saying, but now there's that incentive. Everybody talks about her if she says this slur. If you say outrageous shit, you get the views and the clicks. I mean, we see how it pays off for so many people. Now it's like, if they get closer to saying the most outrageously racist things imaginable, then they can be more honest with themselves and just say what they want and also get, clout for it and internet points. Like it's win-win to them, right? So that's kind of where we're at.
They want to use the excuse too, because right now we're also in a time where what is right? It got to be white. No, but now we're in a time where it's like basically sensitive, right? If somebody says, well, I didn't like that you said that. And then somebody else is going to go, well, free speech. I mean, I think that we all should be able to be ourselves and have these conversations. And I don't want to be judged about it. Can I just be not judged about it? This is just how I feel. And we're in that space right now. And I just be like, no, y'all could really, we went through that time. It didn't work. And so now we need to know this is right and this is wrong. That's where we need to be at. I don't care what y'all saying, and I'm gonna judge you, and that's all right too. Like if we're sitting here and just saying, I don't want to judge this person because that's their feelings about it. And no, that was wrong. I'm not gonna be in that circle. I'm not gonna watch your content, but I'm gonna be the person to say that was wrong. I'm not gonna be like, but that was their, that's their page. That's just they went viral, and that misinformation, that problematic rhetoric went to millions of people. And now they're outside.
It normalizes it,
and now it's dangerous.
And now
that's why it's important. Like that's why I talked about how ever since Trump began to run in 2015, like he opened up this not ability, but he made it easier for people who were really racist to come out and just be racist. And culture is a big piece of what was sort of pushing back on that and getting people educated. And when you have all these people we're being inundated with like the most racist shit from massive platforms, that helps to normalize it and allow it to continue to fester. And we saw a massive rise in hate crimes since 2016, and that's continued because this kind of this door has sort of been opened. So yeah, it's, as you said, it's very important, I think, for us to push back on that garbage.
Yep.
Up yours. Sons of bitches. Woke moralists.
I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother. She was stroking herself absent-mindedly. I let her have her way. Her genital region was exposed. I let her have her way.